What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl, Queen Toss Carmen. I am back with another video. Thank you guys for liking, sharing, subscribing, comment down below. Thank y'all. I hope y'all having a great, productive day. Okay. I'm trying to, but y'all make sure y'all have a good and productive day. Okay. Shout out to Chris McDonough for his interview he did with H. It was in Alley. And I want to say that was her mother sitting there as well. He did a real good job with the interview, and he asked a lot of good questions. And we got a lot of details that some things we really didn't know, and we had questions that got answered in that interview. So that's really good. And some things that people are saying that they're not sure of, and that they're saying out in the YouTube streets, I'm going to address that too, because we all have different opinions, we all have different thoughts, and that's perfectly okay. We're not all going to think alike, we're not all going to feel the same. Some things H said made sense and sounded correct. And a few things, I really couldn't get with, okay? But that's okay, because maybe he just don't know how to express himself, I don't know. Or some things he didn't know. Some people believe he was being coached. I believe on some parts he was going by hearsay a little bit. When it came down to Candace and people seeing her drive straight down there after it came out about $25,000 reward. She was flying down to the police station. So, like I said, it kind of seemed like he's going off of hearsay when it comes down to that part. Maybe he was just going off of what he heard other people say and talk about. Okay. But anyway, let's get down to it. So this is going to be the part one breakdown of Chris McDonough's interview he did with H and Allie. Like I said, once again, we're going to be doing, I have to break down, I want to say at least 3 or 4 interviews that was done between Don and Candace. Nope, not Don and Candace. I think I already did those 2, but H, Allie, and then recently Candace did another interview. So, and stories changed on that one too. So, y'all, I have a lot of breakdowns that's coming. So, please make sure you have your notification bell on, because, like I said, Candace did another interview. I have to break that down. I still need to break down the first interview that they did with Unmasked with Allie. I just have a couple, at least maybe 4 or 5 interviews we got to break down. And like I said, I'm traveling back and forth to Wildersville and Kingsport, Tennessee from Nashville, Tennessee. So at the same time, y'all just got to keep your notification bell on, because at the same time, I'm trying to catch up with things that I have to do on some other case, and take video and report on things I am seeing when I actually go and visit Kingsport and Rogersville. So like I said, just hang with your girl, okay? It's a lot, okay? But anyway, so let's get started. So let me go ahead and say that the first question was answered about Grandma Candy being at the hole. So y'all remember we did the live. When I did the last live, and I talked about, it was one of y'all had a question, or we wasn't sure if Grandma Candy was at the hole. We thought, well, if she was, she stayed in the car. So to find out, H did clarify that Grandma Candy was at the Warrior State Park hole, but for majority of the time they said she stayed in the car. Hold on one second. Okay, so yes, Grandma Candy was at the Warrior State Park swimming hole, and she was in the car for a while on her phone, H said, and then she did get out, look at flowers at the hole. So that question was answered, okay? The next thing I want to address is, H said that, when Candace talked to Don on the phone, the kids when H talked to Candace, she said the kids supposedly had went to work with Don. Okay? Went to work with Don. All right? Okay. And that was kind of weird to me, but that's what's being said. That's what Candace, they told H. So there are multiple, that's why I just don't really know if Don was really at work. I don't believe he was at work because there's multiple stories about Don being at work. Multiple stories about him being at work. And yeah, so I don't believe he was really at work, my opinion. Okay. Also, let's address that TBI couldn't verify if Don was actually at work. So Abe said that TBI told him that they couldn't verify from his job if he was at work. They couldn't verify. And that says a lot right there. Because we already didn't believe that Don was at work, because how did you beat the police there if you work an hour away? That just didn't make sense. And another thing that didn't make sense, and you'll see what else Don, he called Candace and reported on something that he saw, but how could you see something if you're at work and if you're not at home near the property? So things are just not adding up with Don and Candace's story and where they said they was at and what they was doing when Summer Wells went missing. And that is the main thing that we know for a fact, is their stories don't make sense. And they don't add up with what Candace and Don said they were doing and where they was at when Summer Wells went missing, okay? But yeah, TBI could not verify if Don was at work. Big red flag. Another thing I want to address as well, law enforcement did take their phones. So that was another question that we had in the live I did. Someone asked, do we know if law enforcement took their tech? Well, yes, they did. And H verified that in this interview that his tech was taken, okay? So they all are using different phones. And as far as we know, law enforcement still has their tech to this day, okay? They have not gotten back yet. All right? So let's move on to the next thing. I'm moving kind of quickly because I don't really want to, because we have to do a part, because I know there's a part 2 of H's interview with Chris McDonough that he's going to put out. And when he do, we'll break that down too, and talk about that. But I don't want to hold you guys for long in this breakdown. So I'm trying to move pretty quickly. So y'all hang in there with your girl, okay? So H talked about the timeline. Okay, he also talked about the timeline and gave account from what they did from one moment to the next, or where they went from one moment to the next. So he said that Candace took her mom to the hospital. Then he said that she went to go get him, and he wanted to go, swimming, fishing, whichever one. They switched up what they was doing, okay? 1 minute they was going fish, and then the next they went swimming because they had to go get candy, which is Grandma Candy. Okay? Okay, so they went to Candace took mom to the hospital, then goes get H, then picks up Candy from the hospital. Then they have to go fill the prescription. So they went to go fill the prescription. Then, they went to drop off the prescription. After they dropped off the prescription, long line, it was going to be a 35-minute wait. Then they went to Warriors, okay? And they grabbed Puff Bars and Twisted Tea before they went to Warriors, okay? So they was basically going to go chill and kick it, okay? All right. So then we got to move on to Don. He said Don called Candace about a guy looking at kids, attempting to try to touch kids. Okay. And then what was weird is that H switched it up and said, well, he wasn't around the kids. And he had the guy that was creeping, I guess, everyone out, had a thing for Grandma Candy. So that didn't make sense to me. Um, that is just, I don't know if he couldn't explain it well or he couldn't really comprehend because he was trying to be so nosy into what Candace had going on that he couldn't receive the information well. I don't know. But that didn't make sense because he said that Don called about a guy looking at kids, trying to touch kids on the property. By the way, Don, you're supposed to be at work, so how would you know what's going on at the property? Okay? Don't forget that. Okay. But then H says, well, he wasn't around the kids, so how was he trying to touch the kids if he wasn't around the kids to try to touch them? That's my question. And did he switch and said the guy had a thing for Grandma Candy? So it's just weird. That conversation right there just didn't make sense. I could tell Chris was confused because I was confused because you just said this guy was creepy and was trying to touch kids and it was a problem, but then you said, well, hold on, he wasn't around the kids. So I'm like, what? Okay, but let's keep going. That was weird to me. That makes sense. Okay? But yeah, Don, you couldn't have been at work if you was seeing what was going on at the property, okay? Also, so we addressed that Candace purchased the Puff Bars and Twisted Tea, okay? But let's point out one more thing that don't make sense, because I'm going to point out things that don't add up as well as things that make sense in this interview, okay? You don't get the realness over here, okay? So, Candace purchased a couple of Puff Bars, okay? And one Twisted Tea. H said one Twisted Tea. But we know that is not true because we saw multiple Twisted Teas, okay? So at some point, they had to have went and got more Twisted Teas or maybe got more that one time they went and got Twisted Tea because we saw photos of multiple cans of Twisted Tea. So that does not make sense, okay, of what he said. Now, I don't know if he's trying to cover for her or cover for herself and not say she was drinking and driving, but that just don't make sense, okay? Because we saw that there was more than one Twisted Tea out there, okay? So that's not likely true. Okay, so let's go ahead to address the next thing. Okay. H asked for Twisted Tea. Seems like they regularly drink together and smoke together. Okay? Because he obviously felt comfortable to ask Candace for alcohol, and Candace felt very comfortable giving H the alcohol. So this seems like this is what they normally do. They get together, they drink, and they smoke, and it seems like that's something that they regularly do together. Okay? This is a regular thing. And it also seems like to me in this interview that Allie is very aware that her son drinks and smokes with Candace. Okay? And I see that as a problem. Okay? I'm not, he's 15, he's young. He's not at the legal age to drink and smoke with anybody. Period. So that is very inappropriate. Very inappropriate, and I don't agree with that. Yeah, I don't agree with that. He shouldn't be drinking and smoking with nobody. Okay? And then plus he got ADHD, so you don't know how those things interfere with his moves and things like that. It just wasn't a smart idea. And the mama she's aware of it. You could tell she's aware. Okay? She don't have no problem with it. All right, let's move on to the next thing I want to address. Candace and H, they drank and they smoked at the swim hole. Okay, so they bought their drink, they bought their smoke before they went to the horse stable, so they already knew what they was going to do when they got there, and I really don't believe that Candace did not take a drink at the swim hole. I do not believe that. I believe that there was more than one Twisted Tea, okay? But that's just what Abe said, and I don't believe that that's true. And we also saw photos, okay? Moving on to the next thing I want to address. So Abe said that Summer at the swim hole went under the water 10 to 15 seconds, okay? So Candace and Grandma Candy, they was talking, having a conversation. He was eavesdropping, but also looking at Summer, and she goes underwater for a while, don't come up. So he gets in the water to see if she's okay. And he said she seemed like she was okay. And he said Summer was laughing when she came up. So at that point, he believed that Summer was okay, all right? I also want to address, we know that Abe stated that he has ADHD, and people were, picking apart his body language, which that's okay. Yeah, like I said, some people was really into his yawning, okay? So Abe stated that he does have ADHD, and if anybody that knows anything about ADHD medication and have ADHD, there is a side effect of excessive yawning, okay? And yes, he did yawn a lot, but I believe that was from the medication. He might have been, I believe some things that he was saying was true, but some of the things that didn't make sense, I do believe he fabricated that. And wasn't being completely honest on some things. But I believe on some things, he was telling the truth on some things. But some things, I don't believe he was, okay? So that I will tell you. And that's just off of what he was saying. And that wasn't even off body language, okay? All right, so people also, some people feel like that they're paying them for interviews, okay? And some people don't believe that. So I'm going to go ahead and give my opinion, okay? So I don't believe no one is paying them for interviews. I definitely know that Chris McDonough ain't paying nobody for no interview. I mean, he probably would if he needed, if he really wanted it that bad, but I don't believe that Allie and H are being paid, or any of them are being paid for interviews. I believe, in my opinion, I really believe that Allie and H likes the attention. They likes to talk, and they want to tell what happened. They want to tell their side. And that's what I personally believe, that Allie wants to talk. She wants to be in the camera, and she wants some attention. Okay? It just seems like they live a very lifestyle where they don't get much attention, and they're getting a lot of attention right now because of Summer Wells, okay? So I believe that Allie likes that attention. So therefore, I don't believe they're being paid. I believe that they want to do these interviews with these people, okay? So I don't believe Unmasked paid anybody. I don't believe Chris McDonough paid anybody. I believe they they wanted to do it. They asked and they wanted to do it for free to get their story out there and get the attention, okay? I do want to say Allie was dressed very inappropriately. I'm going to keep it real. We're going to keep it real with y'all, okay? Y'all know how I get down over here. Y'all know how I get down over here. And Allie, you knew you was going on camera, and you knew your interview was going to be on social media publicly. Why the hell you ain't got no clothes on? Or your clothes, your shirt kept coming up and your belly fat was hanging out. Now listen, I got a little belly fat too. But I'm going to make sure it's covered and not hanging out, okay? So, yeah, yeah. That was disrespectful to us watching. We don't want to see your belly fat, okay? I'm just saying, cover that up, okay? You knew you was getting on camera to talk and tell your side of the story. You should have covered your stomach up, That was very disrespectful to us watching, okay? And I'm not fat shaming, but I'm just being honest. Cover your body up, whether you a skinny stick. Who don't nobody want to see your stomach hanging out and you're supposed to be someone's mother and someone's mother on an interview giving a information about a whole child missing. No, you need to cover yourself, okay? All right, so let's move on to the next thing. Ace said he has a girlfriend. He did inform the public and Chris and us that he has a girlfriend, okay, that she comes over, they go to the park, and they do things like that. So the rumor or people wondering if H and Candace had a thing going on, he confirmed that that is not true. He says Candace does not like him like that, and they have like a family-like type relationship. She's like a godmother to him. He's like a godson to her. And Summer is like his god sister. Okay, so they have a family-like relationship. So he squashed that rumor right there, or that people if wondered, you know. So yeah, that's what he said about that. Okay. Let's see. All right, so let's see. So we're moving on to the next thing. I'm moving pretty quickly. Y'all hang in there with your girl. So Abe said he was being nosy and he was suspicious of Candace, okay? But if you paid attention to the timeline of where they was at and how he was being nosy, it was way before Summer went missing, okay? So he was being nosy, asking about her phone calls with Don, and he kept saying I was suspicious of Don, what he was saying on the phone. This was way during the day before I ever went to the swimming hole and before she went missing. So why are you suspicious before Summer goes missing? So that didn't sit well with me, that you were suspicious before she went missing. Why? Are you just saying that because people think she did something? I mean, like, you gotta be honest, and I don't think he was 100% honest and truthful with everything. But some things, I believe he was. But yeah, so he was suspicious of Candace in what they were saying and doing on the phone and her actions before Summer went missing. Weird, okay? Eavesdropping on calls. And some people are wondering, was H being coached? Some parts, I believe he was coached, like far as Candace and her motive and how and the money thing he would the motive he was trying to push about the money. I definitely believe he was coached on that, because he couldn't even explain it and articulate what he was even trying to say about the money. Like he was just hearing what somebody was saying and he was trying to tell it, but he couldn't articulate that shit right, okay? So therefore, yeah, on some parts, hell yeah, I believe H was being coached, definitely. Moving on to the next part, Candace and Candy went to the CBD store, the hippie house after the water hole. So we know that Candace likes to get high and she likes to drink. So we know this is a regular thing. She bought multiple vapes. She went and bought more vapes. Okay, H told us all of that. So when they went on to the orange soda in the car, H doesn't recall the orange soda. He don't know how it got there. He did tell us about the candy that her grandmama bought some of the candy. He did tell us about that, but he couldn't tell us about the orange soda. He couldn't remember. Another thing that it makes sense when H was talking about the milk in the video, okay? H said he had the milk with him in the middle, okay? He don't know how the milk got on the side of the door where Summer was laying on it. He don't know how it got there, okay? But Allie's saying that it was like that when y'all pulled up. So that just seems very weird to me, because you can remember everything else, but you can't remember how the milk got from you to over there with Summer, but it was over there with Summer when y'all pulled up. But you remember having the milk in your lap. Okay? So somebody moved the milk over there to Summer, but don't nobody know who did it. Okay. Okay. Let's keep going. Okay. All right. So he went on to say, A said he don't know if Summer was hurt from the water. He's not sure. She seemed okay. H did show his mama when he got back home the vape. Okay. So that furthermore tells me that Allie knows that H smoked and that he smokes and drinks with Candace. And this is a regular thing, okay?